Hello.
Please go ahead.
Yes, I am Bhavna Desai, DCF Navsari. Right now, I am posted at Navsari, but before 4 months, I was there in Bharuch. My project is on greening Bharuch for sustainable farm income through community-based agroforestry initiatives. Why agroforestry? Gujarat has only 11.04 geographical area under legal forest category, being highly industrialized state. Owing to the tremendous pressure on forest land for other uses makes it difficult to increase the forest area in present circumstances. Therefore, increasing the tree cover and environmental stability, afforestation works need to be taken up in all non-forest area. And for that, it is necessary to involve farmers in this program. And through agroforestry, farmers can supplementing and diversifying their income. And wood-based industry also get alternative source of raw material. Uh, Therefore, directly that pressure on the forest become less. Now, overview of the agroforestry. Uh, in Gujarat has launched an ambitious social forestry program in 1969 to 70. Under this, different schemes and models have been implemented across the states. And agroforestry is one of the key strategy in this direction. Under agroforestry, special schemes have been implemented like RDFL. In this scheme, 16,000 rupees per hectare financial assistance is given to farmers. Then Vriksh Kheti Yojana, then National Bamboo Mission, and in these all schemes, agroforestry farmers raise plants on the bunds of their farmland and or degraded land and fallow land. Forest department facilitated them by technical supports, provide quality seedlings and financial assistance. Then decentralized people's nurseries there, and we also provide eucalyptus clone from our high-tech nurseries. Now, Bharuch is a very versatile district. It has a coastal belt, Narmada River passing through it, and this Jagadia and Netran Taluka is a forest area is there, and this is totally Jambusar, Bagra, and Hasut. These are coastal belt, so it is totally versatile district. It has and also heavy industrial area. Ankleshwar and Dahej is there. It is a very industrial pressure. So due to this heavy industrial pressure, it is difficult to make the Bharuch green. So uh, for greening Bharuch, we organize small farmer groups and motivating them to adopt the social forestry scheme and through agroforestry. We also linking the corporate sectors and industries in industrial plantation through corporate social responsibility. Uh, and through all of this, we promote the tree outside of forest concept through agroforestry and industrial plantation. Uh, this is the agroforestry plantation.
Are you excuse me? Are you moving your screen?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Screen is not moving.
I'm moving my screen in 2019-20. This is a actual agroforestry model. Napier grass is there, and also Millia tree is there. So farmer can take alternative income from it. Next, next slide. Hello. Yeah. Uh, this is a meetings of farmers for farmer groups and motivating farmers to adopt agroforestry schemes and next. Next slide. Yes. This is an industrial plantation with the CSR activity of industrial, many companies in Bharuch, Ankleshwar and Dahej area. NTPC is there. This plantation of neem plantation uh, uh, with the help of NTPC and joint activity of NTPC and the Forest Department. Next. Next. These are some photographs of this, our different schemes. Which Kheti Yojana. Next, plantation on boundaries. Uh, this is the agroforestry plantation in 2019-20 teak plantation. Next, this all plantation in farmers' land. This is the plantation under farm forestry scheme. This is a eucalyptus plantation. Next, next slide. Uh, this plantation of bamboo mission. Uh, this current year plantation and this is 2 3 years farming before farming plantation. Next, bamboo mission under the this plantation was under bamboo mission, and this all of outcomes of all of these schemes. All of these schemes, total 28 lakh seedling were planted on 3,424 hectare of farmer land, and 2,248 farmers adopted tree planting on farmland as agroforestry models. The agroforestry initiatives of Bharuch Social Forestry resulted in the massive agroforestation, afforestation program on land outside traditional forest boundaries, and that providing a potential additional income of farmers, and that too while ensuring ecosystems and that ecosystem services and like carbon sequestrations. Uh, Environment stability and that improvement of local ecosystem parameters. This is the tree out of forest census survey, tree survey, tree out of forest in 2021. As per that, in Bharuch district, there were 173.97 lakh trees there, and increase last census done in 2017, and now 2021 per hectare density is 28%. Next. Now that we motivating the farmer for adopt the agroforestry scheme, but farmers without any profit, farmers not ready. Now we start the small farmer groups and making their with the support of forest department, Bharuch forest department, farmers group registration as a company, Bharuch Kisan Agrofed Producer Company. It is registered now. Now FPO is working very nicely, and this is the one first agroforestry based FPO in Gujarat. Next slide. After this, that FPO form, farmers can get very nice rate of their plantations. Next slide. Next slide, please. This is a success story in जो farmers है गिरीश भाई लाल भाई पटेल of भरूच डिस्ट्रिक्ट, जिसने हमारी वृक्ष खेती योजना में प्लांटेशन किया था 2014-15 में, जब उनका फर्स्ट हार्वेस्टिंग का टाइम आया यूकेलिप्टस का, दैट टाइम इन गुजरात दैट ओनली जेके पेपर मिल वाज देयर, एंड उसका मोनोपोली हो गया था जैसे, तो रेट फार्मर्स डिड नॉट गेट प्रॉपर रेट. तो इन 2017 में जब उन्होंने हार्वेस्टिंग किया तो पर टन उनको रेट मिला था 3,600. बट आफ्टर द फॉर्मेशन ऑफ एफपीओ farmers get very good rate of the wood. Now the rate is 6,000 per ton. So that farmer, Girish Bhai Patel farmer, he has planted 12,000 eucalyptus tree, and with the help of the forest department. And now he get in January 2022, after the formation of the FPO, he got very good price, and he got around 42 lakhs of that his from his eucalyptus plantation. Next, please. Next, please. One more farmer is there. He was also beneficiaries of forest department, and he also get very good income from the plantation, and he earn around 19 lakhs of money rupees after the formation of the FPO. Next, now the industrial plantation. Bharuch is a district with the industries and corporative farmer producer, and that no, sorry, industrial plantation. Total. Uh,
You need to conclude now, ma'am.
जी sir.
Please conclude your presentation.
जी sir. Just it is going to finish, sir. Just 2 minutes, sir.
Okay.
Uh, Through the industrial plantation, with the help of the CSR activity, Bharuch Forest Department done plantation last 3 years in 66 hectares, and planted that 19,642 number of trees. Please next. Please next. Uh, this is one of the plantation that NTPC Neem plantation. Now that outcomes of the project, farmer producer organization consisting tree grower farm for the first time in Gujarat, Bharuch under the aegis of the Gujarat Forest Department. Intensive meetings were conducted to mobilize farming, and the strategy adopted has a triple benefit to ecosystem service, carbon sequestration, and locking and economical benefits through farm income diversification. Please next. There are so many challenges we have to face. First, we major challenge to winning the trust of community and farmers to work with the forest department. It is a main challenge, and it is difficult to shift them to agroforestry model and accept to agroforestry model on the farmland. Please next. The scheme is in the state of Gujarat. However, the decentralized people-centric farmer-friendly extends approach adopted by Bharuch Social Forestry Division has immense scope to be replicated elsewhere in the country, especially in place adjoining to the wood-based industry, taking lessons from the Bharuch experience. I am looking forward to replicate the model in Navsari. Right now, I am in Navsari, so I will try to replicate this model in Navsari also. Thank you.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir.
Overall, good presentation. Just tell me one thing, one data you must have. You know, FPO is for all the farmers, no?
Yes, sir.
Am I right? You have given example of one or two, but do you have data to show that what is the increase in income, average increase in income?
Yes, sir. This now this FPO is going on very good program, very good progress, sir. And I have all data of that.
So this data is required. Secondly, see this FPO, how you are training them in terms of marketing their produce.
Yes, sir.
Are you giving them some training? How do you develop their expertise?
Yes, sir.
As to where they should sell their product.
सर सबसे पहले जब हमने एफपीओ का रजिस्ट्रेशन करवाया उस टाइम पे बहुत डिफिकल्ट था, नोबडी इज रेडी टू जॉइन एफपीओ, तो इट वाज अ वेरी बिग टास्क एंड आफ्टर दैट जी सर, एंड नाउ सो मेनी फार्मर्स जॉइन द एफपीओ एंड continuous meeting, sir. Every week we did meeting with farmers and constantly motivate them, and this जो सक्सेस स्टोरी में जो फार्मर्स का लिया है वो उसके जो डायरेक्टर्स ही है सर, तो एक एग्जांपल सेट किया तब जाके लोगों को थोड़ा अंदर ट्रस्ट हुआ Now so many farmers joins and now sir अभी ये सिचुएशन है कि many companies also woodweed industry काफी अभी गुजरात में भी आ रही है, जो पहले ओनली जेके पेपर मिल थी, अभी काफी वुडवेज इंडस्ट्री भी आ रही है, तो फार्मर्स को अच्छा इनकम का ये भी मिल रहा है सर। तो एफपीओ अभी बहुत अच्छा, भरूच का जो एफपीओ है एग्रो फॉरेस्ट्री बेस, इट्स गोइंग गुड सर, गोइंग ऑन।
ठीक है,
जी सर,
चलिए धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Good presentation, madam. In fact, how do you select species? Sometimes it happens that after growing for over 5 years, 6 years, a particular species, thereafter demand, their prices go haywire or compared to the original projections. Sometimes you can make windfall gains, and sometimes there are hardly any taker for the grown forest produce. So how do you decide which species to be planted?
सर एग्जैक्टली अभी हम जो फास्ट ग्रोइंग स्पीसीज है और जिससे फार्मर्स को अच्छा इनकम हो सके, क्योंकि फार्मर्स 15-20 साल तक वेट नहीं कर सकता सर,
Sure.
उसको 4 to 5 years में इनकम मिले, उस ऐसी ही स्पीसीज सिलेक्ट कर रहे हैं। और उसके लिए हम यूकेलिप्टस क्लोन है, मिलिया डूबिया है, तो जिससे हमारा ग्रीन कवर भी बढ़ता है और 4 to 5 years में फार्मर्स को अच्छी इनकम भी हो जाती है। और क्लोन प्लांट्स है सर, सिबलिंग्स क्लोन है, तो क्लोन की वजह से 4 to 5 years में बहुत अच्छा ग्रोथ मिल जाता है सर। और वो डिपेंड्स ऑन क्लोन्स में सर, क्लोन्स में भी काफी वेराइटीज है एज पर सॉइल कंडीशन सर। तो उस हिसाब से हम हमारी हाईटेक नर्सरी में हमारे पास क्लोन्स रहते हैं सर, उस हिसाब से प्लान कर रहे हैं सर।
Okay, thank you, please.
जी सर, थैंक यू।
For reinforcement, the National Education Policy 2020 speaks about making India as Nipun Bharat by 2025-26, so that every child by 2025-26 is proficient in reading with understanding and numeracy. We have seen that there is a dropout of the students at the level of the 6th to 8th. It is higher in Jammu and Kashmir as compared to national levels. The GER in respect of Jammu and Kashmir is very low in comparison to the other states in this particular group from 6th to 8th. And we have carried out the studies and analysis that why the students in this particular class are dropping out, and we have found that the students lack the basic understanding, and due to this reasons there is a drastic dropout in the upper middle classes, that is 6 to 8. And to curb out that, to minimize that, we have come up with a web-based solution for that, that is called STEER. So what we are doing in this program, we are designating a teacher as mentor for minimum of 10 students in a school. So that teacher will be responsible for the learning of the students, how good learner they are, how proficiently they are learning, so that teacher will be dedicated to those 10, or they can be more than 10 depending upon the enrollment in the school, but not less than 10. We are calling that teacher as a mentor teacher, and they initially we are starting with the primary classes from 1st to 5th. Now, the objective of the programs are to have the access to the resources. We normally see that a teacher in a particular school is doing very good in the pedagogies. He is able to make the students understand the concepts through different innovative pedagogies, but they are not scaled to the level which we wanted. So any resources developed by the teacher will be available online, and then that can be used by the teachers or even by the students throughout the union territory. We will have, once we are able to do that, we expect to improve the enrollment in the schools and as well as the retention rate, to decrease the dropout. As I submitted that in this particular age group we have more dropout of the students. We will be able to identify the bottlenecks in learning the outcomes by the students. There will be continuous and comprehensive assessment of the students quarterly by the SCRT, State Council of Education Research and Training. They will be working through the diets. We have the District Institute of Education and Training at the district level. There will be uniform assessment tools to assess the students across the UT. And depending upon the assessment of the students made, we will go through their need analysis, their learning levels, where depending upon their learning levels and what they have been taught by the teachers, we will design the need specific training for the teachers also. The features of the this programs, we will have the performance report of the teachers, which is divided into 3, which is average, good and very good. Then performance report of the students depending upon their learning outcomes, which is again pre-learner, potential learner, which is called pre-learner is poor, potential learner is average. Then we will have satisfactory learner, which is really called good, and then very good, and lastly we will have excellent. The very good will be adequate learner and the excellent will be advanced learner. Then we will have the cumulative performance of the teachers as per the assessment made from the papers of the students. The papers will be set online. It will be available online across the UT to the students. We will have invigilator and the evaluators, those who will be different from the mentors. They will be selected from the block on the random generation basis by the draft the lot from the computers, and they will be evaluating the students based on their performance. This was piloted in the month of December 21. We piloted 15 schools from Jammu division and 5 in the Kashmir division. The head of the institutions were trained, the teachers were trained, they were mapped, and the videos and the sample papers were uploaded. The assessment of the students were done, and the teacher was also graded based on the performance of the students. So that pilot was done in the month of December, and then we launched it in the UT of Jammu and Kashmir. As on date, we have this done mapping of the 21,000 head of the institutions, 38,000 teachers, with one teacher from the school section trained on management of steer portal, and all this was done through 40 district nodal officers. We initially trained 40 district nodal officers and 376 zonal level officers for further imparting the trainings. We have 20 districts over here. So one district officer who is dealing in the administration and one at in the diet, they were trained, and 2 people from the zone each, they were trained, who further imparted training and helped in mapping the teachers with the students. So as on date, we have done this mapping in 21,465 schools where primary sections are running. 67,908 teachers have been mapped, including the head of the institutions, and out of them 48,414 are mentors, and we have 5,14,800 students, those who have been mapped with these teachers. So this program has been completed as on date. All the teachers and the students and the head of the institutions have been mapped. The District Institute of Education and Training, who have to set up the uniform papers for assessment of the students, they are in the final stages, and very soon we will have the first assessment across the UT of all the students who are studying from class 1st to 5th.
Sorry, sir, for interruption. Can you please conclude your presentation?
Yeah, I'm left with just very small. I'll finish within 2-3 minutes. So basically, so these were our outcomes of the steer programs I have discussed. We will be expecting to a dropout in the learning outcome as well as the students dropout. We will expect that the learning outcome of the students increase, and we are able to achieve the objective of the Nipun Bharat. We will be having need analysis of this and specific teacher training from the requirement they have. We had found from the samples that in one particular school, students are proficient in the math and in language, but they are not proficient in the science. So we could gauge from that in particular that school, the science teacher is required to impart training. So that is going to help us. This I have already discussed. I will go through. So what innovation we have brought out, it is going to bring the printing of the papers to a minimum level. We are going to print papers only in those cases where the students don't have access to the mobile phone or the tab. So in those cases, the paper will be printed and then it will be evaluated in physical mode, and then the result will be uploaded by the evaluator online. So that will reduce printing to almost zero level. Then we will have the availability of the resources online, and the learning outcome of the students will help us to design the training, teacher training. In future, we will expand it to the higher classes. Initially, we are launching this for the 1st to 5th, and then we'll expand it to the middle classes. These are some of the glimpses of the dashboard which we will have for the STEER portal. These are some of the pictures of the training we have done. Thank you so much. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, sir.
I think good effort, I would say. I know it is very difficult to do things in J&K because I have been there for quite some time. More so, the education standard needs to be improved. And
Sir.
you have rightly taken a decision to start from the primary level. But so whatever efforts you have put in so far, any sort of drop in that dropout ratio, no?
Sir, I'll submit. In fact, what we did, this program was launched in the month of March, April at the UT level, and simultaneously we launched this enrollment drive in the schools. So we had 14.5% increase in the enrollment this year. We were able to bring 1,68,000 students in the schools. So that
Very
has actually helped us to bring out the dropout rate and the to the very low level and increase our GER.
Increase enrollment.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Good. Very good. Keep on doing the good work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I think your efforts will definitely improve the GER in future also. And when this program is initiated at the secondary level, it will further boost educational standards in your state. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you the SKOCH management for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
I am actually also looking at the World Bank projects. So those are the main, portfolio of my department. Okay, sir, then I will go to the presentation because we have a time running short. Okay, sir, actually, we intend to present.
Sir,
sorry?
Sir, please let me know when to change the slide.
Okay, you will be changing the slides?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, sure. Okay, thank you. Okay. Sir, as you are aware, state of Kerala was actually having a problem in 2018, since 2018 with the huge floods. Floods has been a phenomenal issue in the country. Accordingly, our state also has been a real, affected party for the floods. 2018 seems to be a very drastic year because ever since 1924 and 61, our state experienced the worst flood, one of the worst floods in the century. Again, what makes our state that much vulnerable is regarding especially our topography and also the demography parameters. So as you be aware, state of Kerala is around 38,000 square kilometers in area with almost 41 rivers, whereas our width of the state would hardly constitute around 120 kilometers. And almost that 120 kilometers captures the highest levels from 1,800 meters to mean sea level with a span of 1,120 kilometers. You can imagine how the rainwaters, if sudden cloudburst or any significant incessant rains happen, how quickly the waters moves in. So this was actually one of the reasons that happened in 2018, because we had an extreme rainfall of around 200% from normal. And And we had this rainfall in a basin where we had almost around 14 plus reservoirs where dams were operated. So that is the issue where actually the danger processing is more in terms of its strength. So we need to look into we have to look into the system as to how we can mitigate such floods in the coming days. So obviously, when the policy came in, policy decision makers came in, we did have a project called the National Hydrology Project under World Bank funded. So it is through that project that we initiated that we need to have a flood forecasting system developed for the basin. But of course, there have been certain discussions with the Government of India also, because EWC was also involved in developing a flood forecasting system. But when it comes to our state, as I said regarding my topography, we get a very less time in terms of lead time. Because we if let's say a flood of around 10,000 cusecs comes in, it hardly gets around 15 to 20 hours to get the entire flow from the high ranges to the low ranges. But that does not prevent the state, or the officials from the government in not putting a system where we need to protect the property and life of people. Because again, we are actually supposed to abide by the Article 21 of the Constitution, which actually protects the life and property of the people. So we are supposed to do from whatever possible side from the department side. So we are supposed to do it. It is according to this process that we thought of having a flood forecasting system developed and put in the table. In future that we can operate, or at least be on a caution side, warning the people of the possible floods. Okay, so it's not an easy task. Again, I will have to put on record that it's not that the Water Resource Department alone developed it. As I move on to the slides, I would be saying that it with the help of other stakeholder departments also, especially the Kerala State Electricity Board, because it is the institution which handles almost 13 of 90% of the reservoirs in that particular basin that we have selected. So we need a help of KSEB also, and also from the disaster management point of view, because it is ultimately the disaster people who handles or puts all the communications across the state to the concerned people, including the district collectors. So obviously it is a collaborative effort, which I shall elaborate later. So it's just to put on a point of record, it's not the Water Resource Department alone, but it's a collaborative effort. Okay, so I will just now go to the details of the flood forecasting system. Okay, first of all, whenever we try to develop a modeling system, we entirely first require the data sets. Okay, so as we started the data for flood forecasting system, we obviously depended upon the digital elevation model, which is again widely freely available SRTM DEM for 30 meter. Again, a small error is that I would like to point out, it's not for the hydrologic model, it's both for the hydraulic model. Okay, so we only had this 30 meter DEM developed. But as we had to move as we move across for the project, we were aware that the places which inundated in the lowland areas, especially towards the Cochin area, because it affects almost like a delta, which is very close to the sea. So we had to capture the real ground levels. So we actually, by the time we were developing the modeling system, we had actually purchased a digital elevation model of 0.5 meter resolution, because that would be a great input for our modeling. So we use now, as of now, we are using the 0.5 meter DEM for modeling. Then we had the spatial data sets of land use, soil, river network, because these are all very crucial inputs for our modeling parameters, because we need to simulate the field conditions. Then we have this observed rainfall. Okay, because rainfall is the first big fundamental parameters that is for the resultant of the floods. So we need to have the observed rainfall. So we had to collate it from different levels. We being from the Water Resource Department, of course, we had the state-owned stations, but that never represented the entire basin. Okay, the Periyar Basin, as I said, the state of Kerala is around 38,000 square kilometers, out of which the Periyar and the Chalakudy Basin that we have taken for the study covers around 7,000 square kilometers. So obviously we need to have the rainfall data which actually represented the basins. Then for which we were restricted with many of the data, or we had to collect it from different sources. So the sources that we have put in, the IMD grid, the IMD station data, the GPM, different satellite data, and also the real-time data acquisition system. Once we had this floods, we also moved parallelly for establishing a real-time data acquisition system across the state. Also the Periyar Basin, we are having some of the stations. So all these data were compiled together for the rainfall input as an input. Next is the rainfall forecast. As you all are aware, we have an IMD forecast, because IMD is the authorized agency in the country to issue a forecast. But again, the climate models is a very dynamic thing. So sometimes we might have certain uncertainties in the IMD predictions as well. So we actually looked into the global models also. Because as we enhance our sources of data, we can get to understand the process of the climate and also to reduce the errors. So we obviously depended on many of the global models like the ECMWF, which has some set of ensembles, and also like IMD, WRF, IMD, GFS, and also the different 21 ensembles of IMD. So again, also our model of NCM RFWF was also obtained. So all these input models, for the forecast has been considered as an input for the model. And based on this forecast and observed rainfall, we are actually getting, it gets the data, it integrates with the reservoir data. As I said initially, we have almost 14 reservoirs in the basins. Again, it's almost like 90% is operated by the state electricity board, which comes under another department, which is the power department. So that was also a huge challenge for us because we had to convince, because this project was initiated under Water Resources Department, but we had to convince with their experts also as to what we plan to do, what is the benefits for the KCB as well. So once that was completed, we had a system of having a monitoring the project at different levels, and the KCB was very much in for the project. Once they came in, they shared all the data of how their reservoirs were operating. Their daily data of being inputted in the website was also shared in. So these are all parameters for the inputs of the model. Next slide, please.
You have 3 more minutes, please.
Yeah, 3 more minutes. Okay, then I will just quickly go on because my model then captures, as I said, all these forecasts, which includes the global models or observed data, everything. Then actually gives us the warning system, because based on this, the model gives us the probability of what is going to occur. Then we also need to have a scenario-based analysis, because which means that we are likely of different types of rainfalls. What are its intensities? We can get at different types of inundation values. What are the levels that we need to be taken care of? Then we also have this user interface of the model, which actually gives us a very close interaction with the user and also the the people who's working in. Next slide, please. So this is the representatives of the dashboard that we have developed. This is not in the public domain because we are still developing it. We need to have a security audit also, but we are really pushing this through the State Disaster Management Authority, who is getting the access to this. This was like the representative of how the basin would look like. Just like in terms of weather, it's the topmost side, it will show that's what is the type of rainfall that is occurring, whether it is in the terms of its intensity, whether it's moderate, heavy or extremely rainfall. Then we have the forecast systems based on the control locations that we have selected. That shaded portion is the catchment area, which actually represents that control point schedule, how that is going to behave. You can see the graph also. So this gives us the value as to what is like the quantity of the inflow that is coming in. And also, as I said, based on the final resolution dam, we will get the inundation, the levels at which that we are supposed to, taken care of, which then we subside to the district collectors. Then the reservoir optimization also, because we can see from the slides, we also have the position of the reservoirs. How much is their fill? How much is the inflow that is going to come in? And what is the possible scenarios that is going to be based on the rainfall forecast? And also, sometimes certain reservoirs above 200 MCM are operated based on the rule curves. So that policies also will have to be adopted, and that is also being put as an input to the model. Next slide, please. Then we also issue the bulletins. Okay, also through the mobile app, we have created a mobile app. So there is a chance for the data to be entered on a real-time basis on the mobile app also, which gives an idea to the policymakers and also the people who are actually monitoring it. Then also we are issuing the daily bulletins also. As I said above the previous slide, we can show the basins as to what is the type of intensity, the rainfall that the basin is expecting for the next different forecasts. And that forecast that can be based on the 3-day forecast, maybe a 6-day forecast, and maybe 9-day forecast. But with the modeling experience, we are saying that we have to develop certain validation for the bigger, larger lead times. But when we look into the 1-day, 2-day, and 3-day forecast, we are getting a reasonable accuracy for a 1-day forecast. But that is a big advantage for a state of Kerala. At least 24 hours, we are getting it. Next slide, please. Yeah, these are all the dashboards that we have developed. Okay, how it is unique from then what is the business as usual? So normally you would be aware for any dam operation. Normally the concern was that the dam, there would be a dam engineer. He would actually looking into what is the water inflow to the dam sites, and based on dam sites we had this either the rule curves or the levels, which is again a caution warning something levels, and based on his wisdom he would have advised the district collector, and based on that the dams were operated. But now once the flood forecasting system dashboard is selected, it's not, the wisdom is not expected along with the executive engineer. The dashboard is entirely monitored from the state disaster management point of view, from the chief engineer level or a special team in the headquarters level, and also in the KCB level. So all these people have an access, the hourly basis access, because real-time data is also coming, and based on that, they are looking into all the hourly data inflows that are coming, and a call is being taken on what is the supposed to be, the reservoir is to be emptied, how much quantity is to be released. Again, these people, when we also have the data to the status of the rivers, it's not that the dam is going to be filled, we can release the water suddenly, because we need to look into the position of the rivers as well, because sometimes because Kerala is very much density thing, the most of the rivers would have also been in a swelling position. So these all platform, these all parameters comes to a central positions wherein everybody in the decision making process takes care.
I would request you to conclude now, please.
So we also have an institutional mechanism established in the terms of highest levels, where the decision is also taken and substitute warnings are given to the people, sir. That is the overall idea that we would like to convey. These are all the technical matters, but I don't want to go into details, but just an overall of the project. As of now, sir, ever since 2021, we are operating based on these data, and also this input data from the reservoir data. We are looking into all the possibility scenario and forecast, and it is based on this scenario that we are taking decisions for the the reservoirs in the basin. Yeah, next.
Are you through now?
Yes, sir. That is the main part. I think I've summed up. So, but sir, yeah, just one of our challenges you could have written is that 30% of the basin is covered with the forest. So sometimes many of the climatic activities that is extreme rainfall happening is not being captured through the rain gauges in the forest department. Even if we establish a automatic weather stations, it needs constant updation. In terms of its physical updation also. So that is one point that we are finding it difficult. Maybe so we will have to look into the satellite data in future also, and then calibrate and validate as we move on for different seasons. That is one challenge that we are facing it. And also we have developed a flood model team that will be entirely looking into this project and also to scale up to the other basins as well. I would also like to put on record that based on this experience, we are trying to develop a flood forecasting system for Pamba also. So it's not that one, some external agency comes and helps us. We are trying to increase the capacity of internal officers as well. So as of now, we have developed a system for another basin. But when it comes to automation, we need because we are all civil engineers, we need an automation IT expert. So that is where we are stuck up. So most probably when that solution also come in, we can develop the basin for other basins as well. Next.
I think I request you to now please,
yes,
because we can't afford you more time.
Yeah, sir. Yeah, I'm closing it, sir. So challenges I have, I've mentioned. You can go to another next slide. Yeah, this also I mentioned because we need to scale up for other basins as well. I mentioned you can go to the next slide, please. So that is a way ahead. So way ahead is that, sir, we need to improve the systems for vulnerable, especially for vulnerable groups also, because when floods came, what we find is, what we got input is that people who had an easily, who could easily escape, or at least from, who move from the flooded areas, but what happened to the persons who are sick, who are old? So these are all the different vulnerable sections that we need to consider. But I would like to say that my disaster management authority has prepared a disaster plan for each panchayat. covering, it is available in the website of theirs. So it covers actually the vulnerable, population of them also. So that point we will also have to consider when we look into when we are expanding this project on a larger basis. Then we have to have a different hierarchical coordination with multiple departments, which I think for the reservoir monitoring committee can do it. Then we need to have reliable forecaster. Everything depends upon the reliable forecast. IMD also has a challenge in having a reliable forecast because the climate, change is a very high dynamic process. So as of now, once we get a reliable forecast, we believe that our model for the flood forecast would be also fine. Then we also have a flood monitoring team, as I said, they will have to be expanded. And then the next forward is that we plan to base in for other challenges, and also for getting another future huge amount of data, we plan a crowdsourcing to do for a future data using machine learning or artificial intelligence thinking, sir. So these are the points that I would like to highlight from the Kerala side, sir. Thank you.
I think you had a lot to say because you're a technical man and you have done a lot of work.
Yes, sir. We did.
Good to know that. Good to know that. But see, we have time limitations. So anyway, very good presentation. Very good presentation.
Thank you,
But you have not. You have told it as a challenge.
Yeah.
The accuracy, of the forecast. But how effective this EWS has been as of now? Can
Sir,
you
I would
just
say,
tell me in
sir,
2 lines? 2 lines, not more than 2 lines.
Yes, sir. Normally, sir, for any efficiency model, we have the statistical tools for calculating the efficiency, sir. So we adopted this NSE, Nash-Sutcliffe efficiency model, which actually in terms of ratings with the variables between 0 and 1. It's a statistical analysis. It actually means that it's a 1 minus variance error, which is again an error which is measured between the model discharge and the discharge we are calculating. So we are trying to reduce the error to at least 0. So we at least have a value of 1. So when we looked at the models, or when we looked at the observed values of the floods for the last 2 seasons, and also for the model data, we are getting a NSE ratio of at least 0.8 to 0.9. So that is why we are laying on the model. So we have calibrated, we are testing the efficiency of that model also.
Say, if you have to tell a layman that how effective is your forecast,
sir, I would say
10 times, how many times it comes correct?
Yeah, sir, I would say that we have different sources of forecast. Again, sir, that also I want to put it to the record. Like different sources. I'm saying that I am on IBM graph. It's one of the forecasts. I would say, sir, its accuracy is around 70 to 80%.
Okay, that is what I wanted to know. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. No specific question to ask.
He has left very little time for us to ask questions.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you very much.
We have to take the presentations also.
Public health, additional director public health, and we are presenting augmentation of public health laboratory in response to COVID-19 pandemic, Odisha. Sir, can you go to the next slide, sir? In each district, manpower like microbiologists and laboratory technicians, sir. Our aim and objective is to identify and to detect the diseases of public health concern by doing the test. 22 types of tests are being conducted at the district public health laboratory. The story started from 2013 after the cyclone Fani, sir, and our state developed a strategy to establish public health laboratories in our state. And in 2015-16, the budget was put under public health response, and 30 districts were funded for starting this laboratory, public health laboratory. Main aim was culture and sensitivity, Elizabeth test for scrub typhus, lepto, dengue, JE, measles, chikungunya, quantitative viral load testing, and quality assurance program under Kayakalp, which has started later on in 18-19, and water quality monitoring, because we are a cyclone and flood prone state, sir. So water quality monitoring is essential, very much essential for us, and also diarrheal diseases, which needs timely detection and containment. And in the initial, how it helped us, sir, this district public health laboratory, in the initial stages of COVID-19 pandemic, we had 32 numbers of microbiologists, 60 LTs who were trained on collection, packaging, and transportation of COVID-19 samples, because at that time, DPHLs were not having facility for testing COVID-19 samples. It was being transported to the RMRC or the private 2 or 3 private laboratories where COVID-19 test was being conducted. So we trained our ANMs, MPHs, these community health officers, healthcare workers, staff nurses for sample collection. And we also mobilized special vehicles in which the staffs moved to the remote areas, unreached areas, to collect the samples and bring it to the hubs. Or we operated in a hub and spoke model in that time, sir. And the existing micropolice LT and data entry operators were utilized for data entry into the portal, and we maintained the updated the S3 portal, sir. And the initial samples were sent to NIV Pune, but later on we developed 23 RT-PCR laboratory in our state within 2 months with equipment instruments, so that we can test the samples in our state itself. So 30 numbers of RT-PCR laboratories were established within 2 months, sir, with infrastructure, equipment, instruments, and HR support. And additional funds were provided from the state budget, sir, for logistics and consumables, as well as equipments. Few equipments are mobilized from Government of India, and rest equipments are provided by our state government. And state also has taken initiative to coordinate with the private institutions laboratories to carry out the laboratory testing. The cost of testing was free, and it was being provided to the private hospitals, those who are doing this COVID-19 test, sir. And to increase our target, we fixed the target for each of the districts. Screening target were fixed, and then the testing, reporting, and finally the containment measures. And our turnaround time, which was 6 to 7 days in the initial phases of COVID-19, first or second phase was, then it changed into 2 or 3 days, sir. The turnaround time was very important because in with reference to the containment measures, like the containment, micro containment, identifying the clusters, micro containment, and tracking of the cases. Mobilization of the samples from village level to the nearest testing center in hub and spoke model was adopted by our state, which has appreciated pan India, sir. And this RT-PCR laboratory, which were established within 2 months, functioned 24/7. Additional HRs were deployed, like microbiologists were hired or recruited during that time. And laboratory results were analyzed and supported in cluster identification and immediate containment measures by the district RRT team and the block RRT team present at district and block levels. This was only possible to monitor the districts and their progress by regular review meetings by our Director of Public Health, our secretary, and higher stakeholders at the state and district level on weekly basis, so that we can monitor the targets given to the districts, the tests conducted, and the TPR, which has also been discussed in each and every review meeting, sir. And this laboratory management information system was also developed, and it was managed by the state control room at the state surveillance unit, and also at the district level. There was a few MRS, medical record assistants, data entry operators, both NHM team and state team, they acted in consortium so that they can manage this data and update the data regularly on the S3 portal. And it gave and analyzed ourselves and also took containment measures. And there are 3-tier system followed up in our state for meetings and for analyzing the data and also providing feedback to the upper and lower level. And these rapid response teams, they worked with full commitment and efforts, sir, to contain the outbreaks, our clustering of COVID cases in the periphery, rural and urban areas, sir. So this is a snapshot of total sample tested and found positive at district public health laboratories from 2019 to 2021, sir. From 7 lakh samples, we just reached 14 lakh samples, sir. But there was a dip in 2020 due to COVID first phase and second phase, as we all know. These are the general samples other than COVID samples, which was being tested in our laboratories. For example, acute diarrheal diseases, enteric fever, other infectious diseases, and the culture sensitivity of the pus and throat swab and quality assurance samples, sir. That is the number of samples tested and number found positive over the years from 2019 to 2021. Antimicrobial susceptible bacterial pathogens, scrub typhus, bacteriological tests for water and dengue. And this is the graph showing month-wise distribution of COVID-19 cases in Odisha from 2020 to 2022. We also experienced 3 waves, and our TPR ranged for, and this is the reflection of the cases which has been recorded at that point of time. And this is the week-wise positivity rate of COVID-19 in Odisha, sir. It ranged from 0.7 to 21.4 in the first phase, 0.3 to 14.5 in the second phase, and still 0.46 to 4.96 in the last or fourth phase, sir. The data is reflecting on the slide, sir. And we whole genomic sequencing is very important, and we had 15 sentinel sites in Odisha, from which the samples are being sent, And we had this variant, Delta variant, Omicron variant also, and the results turnover time from a sample transportation for testing and disbursement or communication of the results was 4 to 7 days, sir. And roadmap, we have a roadmap for this laboratory surveillance because we are flood prone, cyclone prone states, sir. So we have mapped our vulnerable zones and we are thinking of establishing an integrated public health laboratory. And we are also establishing a NCDC branch with BSL2 laboratory, to which will be serving as a training institute as well as a referral institute for referral samples from the periphery or rural areas. And we are also in the path of establishing 377 block public health laboratory also in our state, sir. And that for that process has already begun. And our aim and objective is to provide doorstep laboratory services through hub and spoke model. Multitasking of existing RT-PCR as the reduction in cases is observed. We are utilizing those services for identifying influenza, H1N1, scrub typhus, dengue serotyping, anthrax, and other zoonotic diseases, sir. And again, we are utilizing this district public health laboratories for capacity building of other stakeholders like ANMs, MPHs, healthcare, other healthcare providers, staff nurses for collection of samples, packaging and transportation to the district public health laboratory and other referral laboratory which are located at the medical college hospitals, sir. And again, research activities with regard to emerging and re-emerging diseases are also conducted by the medical colleges. We have 10 medical colleges, out of which 3 are old and 7 are new, sir. And again, DPHL, these district public health laboratories are conducting outreach activities like screening of vulnerable population of pregnant women on VHND days, PMSMA days, and also other groups like IDUs, MSMs, TGs, and jail inmates for hepatitis B and hepatitis C, sir. Till date, we have already screened 1.14 lakhs of pregnant women with the help of the microbiologist and the LT. And we have also conducting outreach camps at the trucker site and other vulnerable site, wherein this hepatitis B and hepatitis they're screened, they're subjected to qualifying test and again put on treatment. Because we know that hepatitis B gives rise to cancer of liver, and also hepatitis gives rise to, hepatitis C is curable, but it's a chronic condition. So this is all from my side, sir. Thank you for patient hearing, sir.
Thank you very much, madam. Good presentation. No questions from my side. Done good work.
Very good presentation, madam. I think you have upgraded your infrastructure of the lab to a great extent, but also there may be corresponding increase in the lab infrastructure of private sector, which also constitute a lot of portion in the overall health. Do you have any say on that?
Sir, yes, sir. Very good, sir. You have rightly pointed out private hospitals are there, but the government are also giving them, sir, this funds for conducting this test. If they're conducting at all, like dengue test is free, but we are paying for the logistics and consumables utilized by private hospitals. And for example, this screening of COVID-19 tests also, the private hospitals, those who are doing, were provided with funds from the state budget, sir. And with incentives also, we were actually having a good coordination with the private hospitals, those who are reporting in time on 24/7 daily basis now, sir, and also dispersing the result to all, sir.
Sure. It was a collective effort. Thank you very much. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.